Welcome back to another episode of Consciously Clueless. You're here because you want to learn about how to live a healthier life, how to live more sustainably, how to take your everyday actions and make them work for you and the planet. Sometimes it might feel like you've got this figured out, and other times you probably feel lost. That's why I'm here. Together, we will learn how to live happier, healthier lives without the need to be perfect, and always allowing space for a little cluelessness on this journey to living a more conscious life. Here we go. Welcome to a new series on the podcast called My Vegan Story. If you've listened to the podcast, you'll know that anyone who becomes vegan has a unique path to getting there. There's usually something that pushes someone over the edge and solidifies their vegan status. This series is dedicated to highlighting all of those unique paths. Some make the switch overnight, and some take years to find their way. Some stumble their way to vegan through personal nutrition needs. Others have a profound experience with animals. Either way, by sharing these stories, I hope you'll feel inspired, understood, and find some new resources to further your own vegan story. Remember, if you want to share your vegan story, all you have to do is send me a 3 to 5 minute audio to consciouslycarly@gmail.com, and we can connect more there. Now let's hear from Katelyn Maddox as she shares her vegan story.
Hi Carly, my name is Katelyn and I live in Minneapolis. My story of how I became vegan is interesting, just like everyone else's, and I think it's really great that you're sharing some stories because it's so fun how everyone's story is really so different. My story starts back when I was in middle school. My dad had gone vegan after my parents got divorced, and as a middle schooler, this was the worst thing ever because it was so different, and when you're in middle school, everything that's different is inherently bad. So I really rebelled against the thought of veganism. I didn't know anything about it, but it was just like inherently something bad to me that I thought at that time. And then a few years later, I went vegetarian. I originally thought that I would just be vegetarian for a week to just see what would happen. I never really have actually enjoyed the taste of meat, so turns out that was easy. So I was vegetarian starting in 2014. And like I said, it was always really easy for me to not eat meat because I didn't like meat, and that was really my driving factor. Didn't really have much to do with really anything else. And then when I was in college in 2019, I decided that I would stop eating cheese for a month to just kind of like, I don't know, see if I could lose weight. So more from a health aspect, which as I've learned more about diet culture and how like just cutting out a whole food group is not actually something that's good for you, like mentally, that's been interesting to reflect on. But that's really where I started because I, like a lot of people, always thought that giving up cheese would be super hard. And so I stopped eating cheese for a month, and turns out that it wasn't that hard. And I didn't really crave cheese, which was weird to me. The science backs that up, but at the time I thought it was strange. So I'd stopped eating cheese, and then in about a month and a half, 2 months after that, I decided to try and be vegan for just 1 week. My dad passed away when I was in high school, and so leading up to his birthday, I decided I would be vegan for a week to honor him and just see what would happen. And turns out that was easy too. So I come from a place of privilege. I was a college student, but I had money to pay for groceries and really make a vegan diet be healthy for me. And just like having that access. I lived in a food desert and I didn't have a car. I still don't have a car, but I had friends with cars, and now I live in an area with public transport that's pretty decent. So I have that privilege to be able to choose to eat this way, which I think is really beneficial just to have that choice, because not everybody has that. So basically my story started out as just kind of for fun, and I didn't really like meat. And as I got older, I really had a lot of cognitive dissonance about my passion for the environment that wasn't reflected in the way that I was eating. And then as I became more health conscious, that also was not reflected in the foods that I was eating. And I always thought it would be a really big social burden to go vegan. But in November of 2019, I decided to just go for it for a week. And then I just kept going. And then the pandemic happened. And so my fear of social burden just totally went away. And at this point, I'm almost 3 years in, and it's one of the best things I've ever done. The vegan community is fantastic. I love everything about being vegan. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Consciously Clueless. If you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends, put it on social media. Don't forget to tag me. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Good Pods, leave a review. Reviews and shares help more people to see the podcast and join in on the fun. If you want to make sure to stay up to date on future episodes, follow me at Consciously Carly on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Pinterest, and head to consciouslycarly.com to sign up for the newsletter. Ready for more conscious living content? Check out patreon.com/consciouslycarly and join the exclusive community over there. And finally, if you're ready to take better care of yourself and the world, let's work together. Click the link in the show notes to head to the website, find out more, and schedule a free discovery call with me. Chat soon!